There's one trophy even Lionel Messi has never won. Yet. Dude has a world record 43 trophies.
Messi!
Make that 44.
Miami finishes the script!
Sorry, Leagues Cup. But you know what he's never won? The US Open Cup. And it's only the oldest footballing competition in the entire United States. And what I like to imagine, he dreamed of winning as a little boy back in Rosario. But don't worry, Leo's got a good chance of removing that one blight on his resume when his new club, Inter Miami, take on the Houston Dynamo in the 2023 final. I've always loved the US Open Cup, and in this video, I'm going to tell you why. The rich 110-year history of this incredible tournament, it's really an alternative way of understanding the waxing and waning and waxing again of football's popularity in this nation of ours. Incredibly, this competition was born back in 1913, which is 7 entire years before your NFL was founded. Back then, it was called the National Challenge Cup and was modelled after the legendary FA Cup of England, a nationwide mega tournament in which the professional teams from across the nation vie to win against the tiny amateur minnows. Playing in one game knockout format until there's just a single winning team from across the nation left standing, battle royale style. The first final was back in May 1914. About 8,000 people were there in the flesh, paying the princely sum of 25 cents each at Coates Field in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, to watch Brooklyn Field Club beat neighbours Brooklyn Celtic 2-1. And that trophy that Field Club lifted, it was called the Dewar Cup, because it had been donated by Sir Thomas Dewar, 1st Baron Dewar, of a family you know better from their Scotch whisky, Dewars.
Just remember, some age, others mature.
The first video footage of Challenge Cup action we have comes a decade later, the 1924 final. Powerhouse Fall River FC beat Vesper Buick 4-2 in front of 14,000 at High School Field, a baseball stadium in St. Louis. There's no footage from the year before, partially because, well, technology takes a lot of time. Be patient, and partially because there was a forfeit. Scandal! Skull and Steel of St. Louis. They couldn't fill the team for a replay after initial 2-2 draw with FC Patterson because, and this might be the most American reason ever, too many Scullin players needed to prepare for the upcoming baseball season. Haven't we come such a long way? Skull and Steel, Vesper Buick. You may be noticing a trend. Early teams, many were created by co-workers at a company or by the company themselves, and they took on the name of their employers. The giant of the early years was Bethlehem Steel, which won 4 of the first 7 tournaments. The team came from the Bethlehem Steel Mill in Maryland, which was once the largest mill in the world, employing 30,000 people at its peak. In all, Bethlehem Steel has earned 5 glorious titles, and so have 2 other teams. Kind of. Remember the first footage we have of Fall River? Well, the Marksmen won 4 before moving and changing their name to the New Bedford Whalers in 1932, probably winning that year's competition. The other team to win that 5, that would be Maccabi Los Angeles, a dynasty, who made the final 7 times in 9 years between 1973 and 1982. The club was formed by a gaggle of Israeli expats and Holocaust survivors. Right back for that first win in 1973, they fielded a man called Hans Gudegast, a bloke you may know better by his stage name, Eric Braden, which is what he used when winning a Daytime Emmy for his work on The Young and the Restless. It's actually what's printed on his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Cheers, Jacko boy.
What if our best soap stars played football?
My God, how can you say that to me?
Hans was actually the son of a German Nazi party member. He was incredibly proud to play for a mostly Jewish team who took the field with a Star of David sewn onto their jerseys, scored penalties in the semi-final and the final in 1973, later revealing that his strategy was to kick it as hard as he could straight at the goalkeeper with plenty of spin on it so the ball would skid off the keeper and then go in. The player who won the most Challenge Cups is the legendary Billy Gonsalves. 8 trophies won with 4 different teams. A gent known as the Babe Ruth of American soccer. A kid born 7th out of 9 to a family of Portuguese immigrants. And he represented the United States in the 1930 and 1934 World Cups. A gent who stood out equally for his lethal left foot and his historically unfortunate moustache. But after the Great Depression, professional soccer vanished in this country, and the North American Soccer League, that mighty, fleeting NASL of Pelé, Beckenbauer and many other greats, largely skipped the competition, which means it was a purely amateur affair for about 45 years, flying under the radar of popular sports consciousness, widely ignored. In 1983, barely 800 people wandered into Del Mar Stadium in Houston to watch New York's Pan Cyprian Freedoms beat the St. Louis Cootis Soccer Club in the final. Side note, don't feel so bad for St. Louis Cootis. They had theirs. They won it in 1957, back when they were so good. US Soccer, they just slapped US uniforms on the players, had the exact same guys playing the 1958 World Cup qualifiers. These were dire days, but things changed in 1995 when professional teams came back into the competition's loving arms.
Gamble a shot, the goal!
The mighty Richmond Kickers won that edition.
The shot is scores! The Richmond Kickers have done it!
And then MLS teams entered the fray a year later when the current top division league was formed. Since then, the Chicago Fire, the Seattle Sounders and the Kansas City Wiz.
Slots across the keeper and the crowd goes crazy.
Yes, I know it's technically Sporting Kansas City now.
Sporting KC wins the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup.
But we all know the club's true name. All of those have won the trophy 4 giant times.
It's a three-peat for the Sounders.
Chicago won it
All the Fire members hitting with the barn burners.
the last time they busted that frail aging Dewar Cup itself out of storage. That's my mate Jim Curtin, now Philadelphia Union manager, right behind it. Jim's always first to the Dewars. Now we use a larger, newer, shinier silver model of the cup.
Your Houston Dynamo!
But they still chisel each new winner on the old version, kept deep in some dark closet somewhere. That's not the only makeover in this new era. In 1999, they changed the name to the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. Lamar Hunt, that gent, of course, who was born to an oil wildcat, a billionaire in El Dorado, Arkansas, back in 1932. Lamar is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the National Soccer Hall of Fame, and the International Tennis Hall of Fame after helping found the American Football League, which merged with your NFL, the NASL, and decades later, Major League Soccer, as well as World Championship Tennis. Dude, at one point he owned 3 MLS teams on his own, pretty much single-handedly keeping the league afloat in more turbulent days. He's also credited with coining the term Super Bowl, which he named after a Super Bowl his children were reputedly playing with at the time. Since MLS teams joined the US Open Cup, a lower league team has only won it once, 1999.
And there's Doug Miller. Will he be dabbling here? Oh, yes!
Your Rochester Raging Rhinos shot 4 MLS teams along the way, including the Colorado Rapids in the final, 2-0.
A storybook finish to this cup final.
Sadly, Rochester never quite parlayed that run into MLS admittance, as I think their owners hoped. First, they lost the Raging from the name, and then, when they calmed down, they became just old Rochester, New York FC. From the Rochester Raging Rhinos to just Rochester, New York FC. We used to have a country. Lower league clubs continue to make deep, darling runs.
Chris Williams? Oh, he's tied it!
Like the Charleston Battery, who made it to the final in 2008, where they lost 2-1 to DC United. FC Cincinnati made the semis in 2017 before a sellout crowd of 33,250 at Nippert Stadium against the New York Red Bulls, setting a US Open Cup record at the time and helping convince MLS to give Cincy an expansion team. That attendance record, it was broken in 2019 when 35,709 watched on in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia, when Atlanta United beat Minnesota United 2-1.
Double trouble for Minnesota. Double delight for Atlanta.
That ageless, bald American goalkeeping king Brad Guzan lifted the trophy. Oh, epic moment in American sports. Like most of us, the Open Cup took a 2-year hiatus for COVID. Last year, 2022, lower league Sacramento Republic beat 3 MLS teams on the way to the final,
It's improbable. Sacramento Republic are off to the final.
where rival Orlando City FC was accused of spying on their training sessions, as Orlando went on to win their first trophy in club history.
The biggest moment in the history of Orlando City.
Oh, I love a scandal. This season, 99 teams competed from across our nation. Yes, it was supposed to be 100, but remember our dear old friend, the Rochester acronyms? They dissolved before the very first round. That left 26 US-based MLS clubs, 24 USL teams, 21 clubs from 2 separate FIFA-sanctioned third divisions, and 28 magnificent amateur teams. And from this pool, Inter Miami and Houston have emerged to vie in the final. On the way, Miami knocked out lower league teams Miami FC and Charleston Battery. Then, right before Leo Messi joined, they ousted Nashville 2-1. Parting gift from Phil Neville a week before he was fired as manager. Against Cincy in the semis, Lionel Messi's mate inspired them to a penalty shootout win after a 3-3 draw in 102-degree heat and a hostile crowd.
Inter Miami will play for the Open Cup trophy.
It was the first time an MLS team held Messi scoreless, so Lionel settled for 2 bomb assists instead.
Perfection! Leo to Leo!
In the other semi, Houston overcame Real Salt Lake 3-1 after extra time.
Back for Caicedo, it's over!
And the man who exists behind James Harden's beard watched on as a team he co-owns danced into the final. At stake is $300,000 worth of prize money and a spot in the 2023 CONCACAF Cup. Of course, Miami already has one of those slots. They secured it by winning the League's Cup,
Saved by Calendar! It's over!
which is the newest football competition in America. Messi could go from winning the newest trophy in the United States to lifting the oldest one in our nation within the course of a month, which is so bloody fitting for the little man who's won it all.